What's good, everybody? It's your boy Dakota. I've just done so many takes of this video. You have no idea, but I'm just here to tell you thank you so much for supporting the show. If you like what I'm doing, subscribe to the channel, leave this video a little like, leave it a little comment. If you're an audio person, leave me a little 5 stars, maybe leave me a little review. Whatever you can manage, it all means a lot and it all helps. And go ahead and check out all the links I got in the description to support both myself and whoever the guest is this week. I always try to make sure that I leave links in the description so that you can follow the fighters once the show is debuted. And I hope you enjoy this episode. Welcome to episode 119 of the Slip and Weave podcast. I'm here today with Kaylee Ann Knight, who fights for the Team Combat League, formerly the Team Combat League. Now I think it's the Team Boxing League, right?
Yeah, you're correct. It was TCL, and I think this year they're trying to rebrand everything to Team Boxing League. So TBO. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being on today. Just real quick, for anyone that hasn't seen you fight or hasn't heard of you, just give us a little intro. Let the people know who you are, what you do.
Hello, my name is Kaylee Ann Knight. I'm 26 years old. I currently fight out of the Bay Area and Mexicali, California. Yeah, I'm with Team Atlanta. We've been fighting since March. This is season 4. We have the playoffs this Friday against Miami, number 2. We're number 7 in the league. Yeah, I'm 1-0 in the pros. I have my second fight coming up in Mexicali, September 12th. So tune in, expect fireworks, expect great things, and just follow along for the journey because it's definitely at a fast pace. It's going up very quickly.
How soon before your next pro fight is your last Team Boxing League fight? Like, how much time will you have to kind of prep between?
Yeah, so I have my playoff fight this Friday. Actually, I'll be flying out tomorrow, get to Atlanta, weigh in, fight Friday, and then I'll have about 6 weeks until my next pro fight. So I'm already in camp. I'm already the ball is already rolling for 2-0, 1 KO on the way. That's for sure.
Multitasking. Um,
For
you're on Team Atlanta, right? Who
hmm
are who are some of the other people on your team, and how did you wind up on Team Atlanta when you're from the Bay? Is it like the NBA or something where they draft people, or how does that work?
Yeah, it's kind of a funny story because another team had actually hit me up and was like, "Hey, we're looking for a featherweight 126. I found you. Do you mind, coming out and seeing any sparring?" And I said, "For sure. I'll do the audition." And then Team Atlanta posted that they needed a 126 female. So my coach is more kind of closer to him. So it was just a perfect fit. Once I sent him my debut, he sent back the contract and we got the ball rolling and I was out there by March. A few of our, I want to say my teammates now, right? A few of the key players for Team Atlanta is Ariel Davis. She's our 140 female, and she's the best in the league. She's only lost twice and has been on Team Boxing League, excuse me, Team Boxing League for the last 3 seasons, I want to say. So she's cool. It's been very dope to work with her, pick her brain, get some advice. Money Powell, also, he's our cruiserweight, I want to say. He's very good as well. Very few losses. Been in the league for years. Have given me great advice. Just welcome me with open arms. The whole team has. So it's been very cool to experience so far.
What was kind of your primary reason for going that route as opposed to trying to just keep doing standard pro fights?
Yeah, so I started late in the game, right? I didn't have my first amateur fight till I was 23 years old. So I
Really?
definitely been, yeah, I've only been boxing for a little over 3 years. So I hit the amateurs. I hit the ground running at 100 miles per hour, and I got to 10-0 blew through the novice division. Got to 10-0. Competed with no headgear. Got my national Golden Gloves, California State Golden Gloves, SoCal champion. So I basically kind of sat there, and after I turned 25, I said, continue in the amateurs or let's try this pro route, right? And I have a great team. And Amari Jones, he's the blueprint coming out of Lions Den. He just got signed to Golden Boy. So I've been surrounded by champions already, right? So yeah, that just kind of made the executive decision to go pro, and then landing with Team Boxing League. It was just like the best power move my coach and I could have done for my career, because it I don't want to say semi-pro, right? It's not semi-pro, but it is just one round. But you still weigh in, you still have the 8 ounce gloves on. So it's giving me all the experience I needed that I was lacking, and ring time. Um, and it's kind of the amateurs in the sense of you don't have the option to pick your opponent like you do in a 4 rounder and a 6 rounder, right? So I'm definitely being thrown in the ring with some girls that have been experienced, have been in the ring, been boxing longer than I have. I've fought against Rashida Ellis, who has 20 years of experience, and like I said, I started at 23. So it's been interesting to say the least to learn on the job. That's for sure. But yeah, that's basically what it was. I was lacking experience and lacking ring time and TBL. There's literally no other way, you know. And you can't buy experience, so I had to go out there and find it, and that's what I've been doing.
And also experience not just in the gym where it's like you have no headgear on. It's even though it's one round, it's the same experience, the bright lights and all that.
Yeah.
I always love to hear like the late to the game stories. I did a piece with Price Taylor like about a year ago, and he came to boxing when he was 20 because he was at some business internship, and
Oh wow.
a guy that he was doing his internship with also went to the boxing gym after work, and he just went there and was like, "Oh no, I think this is my thing." What was your journey to boxing?
That's very interesting. Good for him. See, it's funny how everyone gets involved in boxing, right? Like
Yeah.
everyone has a different avenue to go through. Me, I grew up very small town. I grew up in Humboldt County, born and raised in Humboldt County. So, I mean, basically, there's nothing else to do but kind of get in a little bit of trouble and get in fights. That's what I was doing growing up. I got into a lot of trouble. Had to bounce around from school to school, and I just loved to fight. I don't know what it was as a little girl. I just always wanted to tussle. So eventually, right, my mom was like, yeah, no, we're definitely going to get you in a gym. And there was only one boxing gym growing up in Humboldt County. So I was kind of in and out. I was a teenager, partying, doing all the teenage stuff. Once I finally hit the Bay is when I finally found Lions Den and good gyms, good coaches. Just the opportunities were endless in the Bay, right? So that basically just kind of, it was cheaper than therapy. That's what I like to say. I started boxing because it's cheaper than therapy, right? I would go hit the bag for hours, come home, feel incredible. But then I started learning, like, dang, I'm actually pretty good. Okay, I have a little bit of skill. I'm kind of learning here and there. Let me get a few amateur fights. So I just kept winning. So basically, my team was like, dude, you have something if you just keep working at it, because you have a lot of catch up to do. You're playing a lot of catch up. So I said, okay, whatever y'all want me to do, I'm here. Let's work. So that's basically, yeah, why I got into boxing.
And so I like again because there's so many fighters like some of the fighters you're fighting that have been doing it since they're little kids. They have that foundation like ingrained in them. So when you're
Mhm.
able to come to it that late and compete, because I was watching you and I'm like, there's a good skill foundation here.
Oh, thank you.
I would have just assumed you had a amateur career.
Yeah, and I think that's why I've kind of I've been introduced to a lot of females, a lot of males too, just a lot of boxers in general that have been in the game for years. And I've either went toe to toe with them and or beat them, right? So I think a lot of girls kind of, I ruffled their feathers a little bit coming into the pros, because they're like, wait, hold on. Like my first amateur fight was June of 2023. And they have been in, like you said, been ingrained in them since they were 5 years old. So yeah, I've definitely upset a few people, and I don't mind being the upset, right? I don't mind being the underdog. I love the pressure. I love the grind. I love proving others wrong, which have been a lot lately. So yeah, it's like I said, it's been interesting to learn on the job, right? And because every day is a learning experience. So
How would you say in general your experience of TBL has been, and like is that something you're going to do next season? Are you signed? Like how does that work? Are you on a multi-year contract?
No, so it's yearly. The contract was just for March to playoffs, September. I'm with Team Atlanta. We're number 7, I think, in the league. So our team is great. We've lost some, we've won some. The best team obviously is Philly and Miami, right? So my experience so far with TBL has been interesting to say the least, in terms of meeting so many different boxers at so many different timelines in their career, right? I fly all the way from Cali, so I'm there not to play no games. I come out there, I have a game plan, I'm ready, I'm on weight. just want to go home and I immediately fly back home, back into camp, on to the next. There's a couple fighters who are kind of past their prime or kind of my position, needing more experience or super young and don't know where to go. They have, they have King Kong on Miami. So it's kind of like, it's very interesting, my experience, I guess, with TBL to see the different levels, right? And different timelines of different fighters. TBL has been great though. No complaints really. Yeah, yeah, it's just been a wild roller coaster to say the least. Meeting everybody, different commissions, how everyone works. Boxing's an insane sport, that's for sure, dude.
It is wild. It has less structure than any other sport on the planet, and there's a lot of hands in the pot, and everybody wants their little cut. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that's why it's important to have a good team around you, to kind of make sure the right hands are getting the right amount.
Yes, sir. That part. Yeah, because everyone wants to take a little, everyone wants, like you said, a little piece of the pie. And there's not a, what I've learned lately is there's good boxers, but to be great, there's 1%. That door is like that very small to walk through. And you better be prepared if you're willing to walk through it. So, yeah.
What's a thing you've observed in your experience in the last couple of years that separates good from great? What are those
Um,
intangibles?
the I mean, everyone likes to say the work ethic and the discipline, which is very true, but to me I want to say is the sacrifices, right? A lot of people like to be comfortable in their own gym. They don't want to go and search for the better sparring, and they don't want to fly halfway across the country to fight. Or so to me it's the sacrifices. I spend about 10 hours away from home months at a time for camp. I make the most progress when I'm uncomfortable in the gym. I make the most progress when I'm going against a girl who is undefeated in the pros or 15-time national champion. So I feel like a lot of fighters, they have the work ethic and they have the discipline, but they forget, like, I gotta skip this meal, or I can't be there for your birthday, or I'm sorry, I gotta skip Christmas. And that's where I feel like I make a lot more sacrifices along with the discipline. Because the more sacrifices you make, the more you're like, okay, well, I'm here. I gotta get to it. I gotta get to the grind. I gotta, just keep my head down and keep working because I'm already sacrificing so much. So I see the level difference with the sacrifices and what you're willing to put in is it's a greedy sport. Boxing is selfish. So if you put in 10%, boxing is gonna give you two. That's about it. So yeah, you gotta work for it, that's for sure.
Of all of the great pros that you've been around in this experience, whether they're in their prime or like you said, they're kind of where you're at, what are some of the gems maybe that some of these other fighters have dropped on you in your crash course?
Um yeah, I've had the opportunity to train around like Andy Ruiz. I've had the opportunity to train around Vinaldo Lopez. I've had the opportunity to spar Caroline Dubois. Um so I've been around very great fighters, and it's funny because most fighters who kind of get to a very top level, they either still hungry or they're kind of like settling, right? But I've been blessed to be able to be around former champions, current world champions, and they're still just as hungry. So it kind of makes you think like, wow, they have it all. They have everything and they're still working and they're still grinding and they're still, wanting to win one more fight, one more fight. They've already solidified themselves in the Hall of Fame, but they're still getting to it. So that's basically a gem that I've taken a lot from these fighters. Cause I'm like, dude, you have everything. But if you kind of lose that passion for the sport, you might as well just hang up the gloves because no matter how old you are, if you're young or if you're new, if you're not having this passion and drive for it, then what the heck are you doing? So that's definitely a gem I've learned is to keep grinding. Never lose the love for the sport. You gotta love the training, right? Because if you're miserable in the gym, then the fight's just like it's just no point. So you gotta fall in love with the grind. You gotta fall in love with the miles. Yeah, I've definitely taken that from not even former world champions either or world champions I've been around. Definitely just people who are loving the sport, right? Because you can see, I don't know, as a female boxer, I've met a lot of females who are kind of here for the cameras, here for the look, and then they get up in the ring, and I'm like, dang, you looked good on paper, but in the ring, you're kind of getting beat up a little bit. So, like I said, you're never bigger than the program. You never want to lose the love of the sport because then you're just going to be lost. So,
I think sometimes that fire is kind of the difference between good and great because a great fighter can lose that fire, and even if all the skills are there and the mentality is not there, it's you may still be great, but there's like five guys now that can beat you, whereas you were the top
yeah.
dog. You know what I mean?
Yep, that part. Yeah, it's what's the saying? 90% mental, 10% physical is boxing. And I'm starting to believe that every single day.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So, absolutely.
What was like what did your day to day look like before finding boxing? What were you doing? Where were you at in your life that this felt right? You know what I mean?
My day to day. Well, like I said, I live in the Bay, but I train down south, in SoCal, like right on the border, right? So I'm 10 hours away from home. So my day to day when I'm in camp, eat, sleep, train, boxing. We have 3 to 4 sessions a day. We wake up, we eat our breakfast, we go to the gym. At the gym, we ask our coach, when's the afternoon session? He tells us the time, go back home, we rehydrate, refuel, sleep if we can, go back to the gym, back to another sparring session, traveling for sparring. So definitely when I'm in camp, which makes me feel like even more of a true professional than I'm learning to be, is just eat, live, and breathe boxing, right? So when I'm home, I definitely comfortable and I'm in the comfort of my own bed. I'm at my home gym. I'm around my friends, my family, my dogs. So the grind doesn't lit up by no means at all when I'm home. But it's like I said, when you're out of that comfort zone, it pushes you mentally to a different kind of turns that switch from human to like animal. That's what it feels like sometimes. So I love, like I said, I love the grind. I love being in the uncomfortableness. So I think definitely my day-to-day life is well, as a boxer you're not really human, right? You never want to feel like a normal person. That's how I feel sometimes. So I signed up to sign away my rights as a human being. That's what it feels like, right? To In order to be great and in order to where I want to be, I can't live the life of an everyday average person. I gotta live in gym clothes, I gotta live in the gym, I gotta go to sleep thinking about boxing, I gotta study my sparring. So I'm learning to just like I said, be completely immersed, and I am in camp. Definitely, it's a trip to kind of flip your mindset to soldier. That's what it feels like, boot camp.
Let's talk about September 12th. Do you know who the opponent's going to be? Give us the who, what, where, when.
Well, September 12th, I can tell you it's gonna be a knockout. That's for sure. I'm very excited to hear that second round bell ring because in TBL we just have those one rounders. So I'll be sitting there and I'm like, ooh, I'm downloading and oh, I see that and the ding, the bell rings and we just got that one round. So it's been frustrating in the most good way, in the most best way, TBL has. So I can't wait for that second round bell to ring. We do have an opponent. She's from Mexico City. We're fighting in Mexicali. 2-0, one KO. You can bet the house on that. It's gonna, like I said, I just want to hear that second round bell ring. Who knows? I'll probably knock her out 3 seconds into the second round, right? But definitely prepared. It's gonna be a 4 rounder. I'm excited to get back into the pro ranks, kind of keep moving up the ladder. And yeah, you can just expect fireworks. Yeah, lots of fireworks, lots of knockouts. I'm excited. I don't know exactly like my opponent's name or height or reach or anything. I feel like that's my coach's job because I trust my coach 100%. My main coach, if he says, hey, I think you can beat the girl, I'm like, all right, let's work. Tell me what I need to do. So I'm excited for that. And then also too excited to see my skills from when I debuted back in December, and not even skills, but comfortabilityness in the ring, right? And see how well I've adapted through TBL because that's one thing about TBL. Those cameras are on you. So I've learned how to kind of like, how to be in front of the cameras, which is a whole learning experience in itself. So I'm excited for that. Excited just to be back in the ring for more than 3 minutes. Really.
And where's the fight going to be? And is there a way that people can watch it or support you?
Yes, sir. The fight will be in Mexicali, Baja California, right over the border in California. So yeah, if there's a way, there'll be a live stream. I want to say the closer the fight gets. Live streams are normally, I want to say, all over Instagram and all over Facebook. So I'll be sharing that as soon as I get the info, and I'll just be keeping all my followers posted as camp goes on, and try to keep them informed with everything.
So you got Team Boxing League fight this weekend. You got a fight September 12th. You got plenty to work on in the next couple of months here, and I'm very much looking forward to seeing it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for this interview and thank you for the opportunity just
Hell
to
yeah.
be able to speak about my boxing because like I said, I've had an interesting story where I started late in the game and I started for all the wrong reasons, but now I'm here for all the right ones. So I'm excited to continue to just keep popping in, keep beating girls that they think they're not beatable, that think they're bigger than the program. Here I come to spoil the party and I don't mind being the spoiler. So yeah, it's a very interesting world to be a boxer, especially a women's boxer, right? But women's boxing is coming up and everyone watches women's boxing. So I want to give a huge shout out, actually, if I can, to Amelia Moore. She's a commentator for TBL and fought on TBL a lot.
Tremendous. Also been on this show before.
Oh, really? Oh, okay, cool. There we go. Then y'all know about Amelia Moore. So I was watching her press conference this morning against Caroline Dubois, and I just want to give her flowers a little bit. You know, it takes a lot to step up, go to someone's backyard, if everyone knew Amelia, kind of how I've been getting to know her, is she's about it. She's a dog, and she's ready to fight. So I have the opportunity to spar Caroline Dubois too. So it's interesting to see both aspects, both fighters on the main stage, and it's very inspiring. So shout out to
How
her.
do you view that matchup? Because I think Amelia is fantastic. It's such a jump up in competition so
Mhm.
quickly, but I kind of feel like she's equipped for it. Caroline's a fantastic fighter though. But how do you view that fight, having had some experience with both of them to some extent?
Yeah, yeah. I've never sparred Amelia, but I've seen sparring and I've heard obviously her work ethic is insane. And then obviously, meeting her in person, TBL, this, that, and the third. And then sparring Caroline Dubois, I'm not gonna lie. I have Amelia more on the upset. I really do think Amelia can pull that off. It depends on how well your camp is as a fighter, right? I do think that Amelia has all the attributes to beat Caroline Dubois because Caroline Dubois is beatable, in my opinion. She's a great fighter. Like I said, I'm not taking anything away from her. She has the belt. She's a champion. But Amelia, I don't think would take that fight. Her or her team would take the fight, go to UK on kind of a late notice, and if they didn't have the chance to cause the upset, right? So I'm saying it here now, Amelia Moore for the upset. And when it happens, I would love to go back and kind of be like, "Told y'all."
Wow,
So
that's a bold call right there.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. But and like I said, as a women's boxer, we have the opportunity to kind of know the men and women's side. So I study a lot of women, and I study a lot in the women's game. And like, I've been following Amelia Moore for a long time, Caroline Dubois as well. So the more I'm in the game, the more I'm like, hey, anything could happen, you know. And then with our 2 minute rounds, we're fast paced, high volume fighters. But Amelia Moore, she could still sit down on a lot of punches, even with 2 minutes. And that's where I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see the difference and who can sit down on who more punches. And in the later rounds, for sure, it's going to be very interesting to see. So,
I'm interested to see if Amelia, because maybe it's because I've seen mostly team boxing league fights, but she has a high work rate. She's got an engine. She gets out there and she gets
mhm,
to work. And Caroline kind of likes to be comfortable. She's slippery, she's
that
sharp,
part.
but she like stays in her comfort zone a little bit. And I think it's up to Amelia to kind of break that bubble, get into her
Mhm.
comfort zone, and make it uncomfortable. Easier said than done, but I think that's probably her best bet.
Yeah, I agree on that too. Me and my coach were kind of talking like how the fight might go. And I was saying like, hey, if Amelia can disrupt that rhythm and her comfortability, and then that's like I said, I have her for the upset by all means, for sure. I'm excited for the fight. And then also that whole card, you have Mayer and you have Cameron. That's going to be a very good fight as well. So, and then
If you're just
Master
talking
merge with
pure X's and
MVP.
O's, like to me, that's one of the best matchups made right now is
Dude.
Michaela and Chantal. Because there's really
Hmm.
not the schedule in boxing right now is light. Me and Lukey have been talking about it every week. Like the shit's in a transition and the schedule's looking light. But that fight is like if it were men, it would be the
Superstar.
biggest fight in the sport, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, especially with Serrano kind of going out. You know, Taylor announced her retirement.
Yep.
I agree that that's the two biggest matchups in boxing. And then, like you said, it's a weird time in boxing, especially with women's. We're kind of waiting for the next kind of thing to break through.
Mhm.
And that's where I'm like, I'm here to spoil the party. Hate to break it to y'all, but it's going to be some random girl from California that's going to come onto the scene and blow everyone's mind. Because the way I love to work out and the way I love the game and the way I'm very hungry, very passionate and just like, all right, bet y'all wait and see, because I've done a lot in the last 3 years. So I can't wait for these next three. So yeah, absolutely. I'm excited for women's boxing.
Two questions, and then I'll let you go. I don't want to take too much of your time,
Oh,
but
yeah.
who would you pick for Cameron and Mayer? I'm very conflicted about that fight because they both changed weight enough that I'm like it's almost hard for me to picture them fighting, you know?
Yeah, yeah, no, that's interesting. When they first got announced, I immediately thought Cameron for some reason. I said, okay, she has the belt, right? But then I'm thinking, and I've also met Michaela Mayer in Colorado. She's a big girl. Holds the belt at
Yeah.
54, and she's stacked. She has a very good team, and I feel like
It's wild when you
just
see her that she used to fight at featherweight. It's crazy.
dude, and she started in a long 130 career. Yeah, very. So knowing that she can go up in weight and still hold that power along with her skill and her athleticism, it's been interesting. So I don't know. I'm 50-50 on that, to be honest. Like it's very hard, but I want to give it to Michaela Mayer just in terms of she's fought heavier than Chantel has. She's kind of more comfortable. But I don't want to say Mayer's so tough because Chantel's a dog. She beat Katie Taylor. So, that's the one woman that's upset the GROW, in my opinion, the greatest woman of all time right
And
now.
might have beat her twice, honestly. She might have
Yeah,
beat her twice.
yeah, exactly. That part. So like I said, Cameron, I feel like has the skill set to be able to remain calm and be the better fighter, but Michaela has that more dog and more size and more a little bit more power to me, to where it could be very interesting. And that's why I love women's boxing because the matchups are always like it's very fire 50-50 fights sometimes.
Yeah,
So
there's a lot less like fucking waiting around for the good matchup. Like if there's a good
sure.
matchup to be made, maybe like with Clarissa and Savannah, they marinated on a little bit. But outside of that kind of a mega fight, it just boom, let's make the fight. What are we fucking
Yep.
around for, you know?
Exactly. And I feel like as women, we're kind of like, all right, bro, like we got to prove ourselves in the sport already. So we're like, all right, let's take the title fight and it's only our fifth fight on the line or
Sure.
something.
When
So
you have more options, you can be more picky. But like, a good example, like India Rodriguez.
that sounds familiar. That sounds very
She's
familiar.
a tremendous little fighter and ugly record, but she every time I fucking watch her on TV, she's upsetting some young
Okay.
prospect.
There
And
you go.
another one that started late and she was telling me at one point early in her career, she was legitimately paying to fight. So when you've been in a position where you're shelling out your own money
Yeah.
just so you could get the exposure, then the idea that you would turn down a title fight is like crazy.
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, that's and with us women way less opportunities. So when the opportunity presents itself, you better be prepared and you better be able to run it and prove yourself wrong or right to others. So yeah, it's interesting the matchups being made. But I love how Matchroom immediately the first thing I read was Matchroom and MVP merging. So that's gonna be even more amazing, Sky Nicholson on the scene and this, that, and the third. So we're definitely be seeing a lot more mega fights. I'm hoping, and then I'm hoping that, like I said, in a year time. I don't think I've been in the game long enough to be able to call out any boxers, right? Or call out any women. But like I said, I do my studying, I do my homework. I sacrifice a lot of my time to be here, so why would I waste any of it? So just know them girls out there, the 130 division, 126, even maybe one day 122. I'm definitely gonna be on the scene and they're gonna be like, who the heck is this girl? So I'm excited.
Even though you're playing all this catch up, what are like your career goals? Where do you see it all going?
My career goals are obviously to be world champion, right? That's the epitome of boxing. I never was chasing the Olympic dream. I love watching the Olympics. I give my hats off to any Olympian because to get to the Olympics, so many obstacles to get there. Hats off to the Olympians. That's why I give Caroline Dubois her flowers too. She's competing in the Olympics. But as for me and my personal, I just necessarily not even chasing the belts. I'm chasing legacy. I want my name to be known and I want the people to be like, how was she just chilling at 21 years old, started at 23, and by the time she's 30, I had beaten a couple great fighters. I want to be able to beat some great names. I want to be in huge fights. I want to be on huge undercards. And I mean, like Floyd said, right? We're prize fighters, not pride fighters. I want to make some money. So, like I said, I want to be ready to have the opportunity when it presents itself. I want to make my name along with the checks. So, and the more you learn, the more you earn. So, I'm excited for it all.
Well, I'm excited for it too. I'm looking forward to seeing your next fights. Is there anybody, anyone, anything, anywhere that you want to shout out before we wrap it up?
Of course, well, shout out to Lukey, right? Shout out to Lukey inside the rope. Shout out to
Yep.
you. Shout out to this podcast. Thank you guys for having me. And I just want to give a huge shout out to my main coach, Joseph Perez. Me and him put in work day in and day out down here in Mexicali. Shout out to Mexicali, California. Me encanta mucho Mexicali. And just shout out to the home team back in the Bay, Lions Den. And like I said, you'll be seeing me on TBL and you'll be seeing me all over Instagram, all over Facebook with some knockouts. So just remember the name.
Kaylee Ann Knight, much appreciated.
Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it. Thank you.